On to the Hawks. I mean, what do you think, George? Who is someone you think we should key on other than the obvious Trae Young?
Well, actually, Fritz mentioned one right there in the chat, Bogdanovich, of course. But I think the wild card there, the one that's really could hurt us, is Hunter. I think he's got kind of almost a 3-level scoring game, almost. Definitely can hit it from the outside. He can drive. His handles, but he's got good size. He's got good speed, and he has that solid demeanor. He's a little dangerous. He's actually hurt us in the past too. He didn't play in that last game with us, right? Did he play? I think he's been injured. He was injured, but
yeah, hurt. I'm not hurt. He's been out. He's just coming back.
He's just coming back. I think he's someone that I'm worried about. But there's a lot. You just said Herter. Yeah, I mean, they got some snipers. Atlanta's got some snipers.
For me, other than Trae Young, and you said Herter.
Yeah, I said he's just another.
No, he said DeAndre Hunter.
I think DeAndre Hunter is the one who could really make the difference in the series if he steps up.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick someone else, I'm gonna pick the guy that just had 25 points, 22 rebounds, and 9 offensive rebounds against us, and that's Clint Capela. He last game, that's the numbers that he had. 9 offensive rebounds, 22 rebounds, 25 points. Now, I don't expect him to get anywhere near 25 points because that's not really his type of game, scoring that much on the offensive end. But when you consider the fact that we don't have Mitchell Robinson, when you consider the fact that Noel is going to be a very, in my opinion, important piece to this series, because he is going to be a key anchor and piece to helping to contain Trae Young, right? Because Trae Young likes to come off a pick and kind of hang on the defender and then drive to the basket, shoot those teardrops, get the fouls, and go to the line. So Noel's ability to play the pick and roll, which has been sort of weak on his end recently, that's going to be a big key. So on the other side, I think Clint Capela being able to control the rebounding department, right? Because we like to slow it down. The only way we're going to control pace is by rebounding missed shots. And so if Capela causes havoc in the paint, mind you as well, this is not a series where it's in the season where you just go with, Norrell Pell, or you start to mess around with players if it's not working. No, Tibbs is going to potentially shorten the rotation, and it's going to be on Gibson. It's going to be on Noel to control the paint. And if they can't do it, I don't think Tibbs is going to go to Obi or someone else. It's going to be them. So because that's the options we have without Mitch, to me, if I had to pick someone else, I'm going to say the rebounding, and I'm going to say Clint Capela. We have to box him out. We have to make it manageable so that we can, we're able to control the pace.
Totally. The only thing that makes me not worry too much about him is that he's a 57% free throw shooter. So he's not going to be there in the fourth quarter, and these games are going to be tight. So he's not going to be a factor. He's not even going to be on the floor when the game's on the line. If it's close, if he does his damage and Trae goes off and the lead is 20 going into the fourth or in the last 8 minutes of the fourth, then he probably will stay on the court and then to solidify that win. But with the Knicks D, I don't know. I think we're going to keep I think we'll be able to. He's going to end up neutralizing himself because he's not a good free throw shooter. And surprisingly, this is his worst field goal percentage year since 2015-16. So his efficiency has dropped, which normally is an indicator that he's losing a little something athletically. A little bit of, So, I mean, he is definitely dangerous for sure. But the guy that we haven't talked about, well, maybe Keith, who's your guy? Because maybe you'll say
with Collins.
There you go. That's who.
Yeah, I'm worried about Collins. Not only the fact that Collins can hit the outside shot, and also he can kill you down low. The fact that Julius Randle is probably going to be guarding him, and we don't want Julius Randle to get into foul trouble. And we already know the refs are not on our side. So if God forbid they decide to play call the game tight, I'm gonna be nervous because who knows what they'll do to throw it off the chemistry or the flow of the game. So John Collins is definitely somebody that we're gonna have to make sure it doesn't go off. Fritz said it as well. Bogdan, he's able to orchestrate that offense when Trae's not in there. So we have a lot of weapons that we have to focus on and try to stop from dominating the game. But we skipped over Trae because it was the obvious answer, but we already know that's going to be the engine of this team, and we have to make sure he doesn't hit us with that little herky jerk foul nonsense as well. I'm nervous about the refs. I probably should have said that's who we need to neutralize, really, because if they decide to go off on us, it's going to be a problem. There's too many variables. You got John Collins that can draw fouls on Julius Randle, Trae Young, Capela, but you said he's a terrible free throw shooter. It's just it could get nasty out there if the refs
Hunter
call this game right.
You make
into trouble.
Make a great point, Keys, because guess what? The Atlanta Hawks are second in the NBA in free throw attempts. And so they shoot 81% when they get there. Mm-hmm. So the Knicks, I think, were top. They definitely they were definitely within the top 7 or 8 in the NBA in free throw attempts in fouls per game. So the Knicks were up, among the league leaders in fouling.
Yeah. And
then now you're playing a team that's among the league leaders in getting to the free throw line. And then you include the refs in the middle of all that equation. Mm-hmm. And you're going to see a lot of weird stuff happening, bad calls and questionable calls. And discipline is going to be key for us because of those, variables between the two teams. We're definitely going to have to, be disciplined in the game plan because, these guys can shoot all these guys can shoot well from the free throw line. And, these games are, I think, maybe high scoring. I mean, they were high scoring all in the season. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it depends on the lineups because George made a good point as well. I think the Hawks, if the Hawks are looking at how we can beat the Knicks, I think Capela being on the floor is a way to. He played 36 minutes, 41 minutes, and 31 minutes in the 3 games they've played the Knicks this season. And he's played well in all of them, double-digit rebounds, right? And when you look at how to neutralize the Knicks, Randle sometimes does have a little bit of trouble around the basket with size, right? And so controlling the paint against the Knicks is key. But then again, with Collins playing at center, bringing Gallinari in with Herter and Trae Young, like going small can also be beneficial to them because they can spread the floor. That's why I don't think this matchup is as easy as some people, are painting it to be. I know we wanted them because of the playoff experience. They're a young team and we beat them in the season, but this is going to be a dogfight, man. This is going to be a long series, in my opinion.
It is.
We beat them 3 times, but that last win, Trae Young had to go down for us to really mount that comeback. So we could very easily be 2-1.
And those games were, a lot of those games were good games, even dating back to last season. If you want to go that far too.
Our net rating is 2.4, and we're 10th in the league. And the Hawks is 2.2, and they're 11th. They're right behind us. But they do it by, just they're a much better shooting team in general. Our defense though is better, so it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle of whether the defense wins out, and in the playoffs usually the defenses do carry the day.